You stand over there, Jerry.
Jerry, you're over by the
You're over
casket.
by the casket.
In the middle of the casket, Jerry. Jerry,
Yeah,
in
he's
the middle of the
he has to set
casket.
the sword down.
Move to the middle of the casket. By the middle of the casket, you move.
By an inevitable decree of the Great Father, our brother has been called from the turmoil of things temporal to the gracious peace of life eternal. The struggle of mortal existence is ended, and he answers no more to the call of the living. To this place we come in tribute to the memory of one who learned the lessons of friendship, charity, and benevolence, and shared with us a great fraternal work.
With us, around the Holy Bible, our book of law, he met to strengthen the helpful ties of friendship.
With us, he learned to lay aside the sword and to know that charity softens the heart in forbearance and in forgiveness of human frailties.
With us, he wore the jewel, emblematic of that benevolence by which life is made brighter and happier.
Standing by this casket, we proclaim unfaltering belief in the mercy of the Supreme Being, the ruler of all, and strong in the faith of that which has been promised to those who love their fellow man. We look with hope to the brighter day when love and joy and peace shall be eternal. Death is not to be feared. It is not the end of life. Our brother is not dead. He is only called from life unto life, from labor unto rest, and from turmoil unto peace.
God is our refuge and our strength, and an ever-present help in trouble. I shall not die, but live, and declare the works of the Lord. If I ascend unto heaven, thou art there. If I make my abode in the grave, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. Blessed are they that mourn, for they are comforted. He healeth the broken heart, and bendeth up the wounds. For he shall give us his angel charge over thee, to guide thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone.
It was not decreed that man should perish. The seed sown is not lost. When the dawn of eternal day shall light the heavens, and the voices of angels proclaim that earth has passed away and time has become eternity, this form, once more animated by spirit, shall live forever. Upon this casket we drop a sprig of myrtle, emblematic of eternal friendship.
Let us supplicate the throne of grace. O thou that openest the day and pourest forth the light thereof, so open the heavenly light upon us. Command thy blessing, which brings life and light and joy and comfort and all guidance, to rest upon us, and make us mindful of that night when the noise of this busy world shall be heard by us no more. Dispel the storm of grief, and out of the clouds and darkness of sorrow, bring us the light and joy and peace of thy loving tenderness. May those that are suffering the pangs of bereavement feel that thou art very near to comfort them, never so near as when they are in affliction, never so near as when they are in darkness, never so near as when they are downcast or forlorn. Be thou now, we beseech thee, a father to those who are in trouble, and a God of comfort to those who mourn. We pray for all who are in bereavement, all who are in affliction, and may they learn the sacred lesson by which sorrow shall change to joy, by which loss shall become gain, and by which weakness shall wax strong and be victorious. Bless our brotherhood, those that are here with us or wherever they may be. Bless any that are on the great deep, any that are in foreign lands, any that are in remote places in our own land. Be near to them, and may thy blessing go with them in their several ways, and abide with them always. Strengthen them in deeds of loving kindness, in thoughts of gratitude, steadfast patience, and trust, and in work of duty faithfully fulfilled. Lead them out of the way of danger, the way of suffering, the way of trial and struggle. May all who are groping blindly touch thy right hand and be lifted up and strengthened. O God, in whom we trust, help us by thy grace so to live that we may never be afraid to die, and grant in that at the last, as now, in our evening song, may be, I will lay me down in peace to sleep, for thou, O God, makest me dwell in safety. Amen.
Baruch Dayan Ha'emet. If you have a cell phone or a pager, and you couldn't hear what I was saying before anyway, you might want to turn it off or set it to stun. Begin with Psalm 121. Esai enai el haharim me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Al yiten lamot raglecha, al yanum shomrecha. Hine lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha ayad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakaka v'yarech b'layla. Adonai yishmarcha mikol ra, yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmar tzedcha v'oecha me'ata v'ad olam. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian. He is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all harm. He will guard your soul, your going and your coming, now and forever. Death has taken our beloved Neil Gilman. Friends, grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation. In their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For Neil's love that united many in life and which death cannot sever. For his companionship that was shared along life's past and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of his heart and mind that brought joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God. It is a time of grief. It's a time of sadness. And so once again, we listen to the voice of our sacred scriptures from Sefer Tehillim, from the book of Psalms. It tells us of our kinship with the Creator. In light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. Together let us recite the 23rd Psalm in the English together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. This afternoon, we call forward two to eulogize our dear Neil, his daughter, Wendy, and then granddaughter, Peyton, to speak words of tribute.
Oh, wow. I wasn't going to say anything, but I actually wrote a little note to Uncle Neil, as I called him. Didn't like to call him stepfather because he was really a father to us. We knew him all our life. So I wrote a note that I'm actually going to put in the casket, and it says, Uncle Neil, I can't believe you are gone. Thank you for being a part of my life from the very beginning. Thank you for loving me unconditionally. I know I didn't listen all the time, but thank you for all your advice. You're my go-to person for everything. I wish you were not so stubborn, but that was you. I wish you were here so I can yell at you and give you a big hug. You will always be in my heart, and I will miss you terribly. I wish I got to tell you how great the boat is looking. I love you so much, your daughter, Wendy. So, thank you.
Hi, everyone. For most of you who don't know, I'm Neil's granddaughter. My papa was such an amazing grandfather to all of his grandkids. I knew he was someone I could always rely on to tell me a joke that wasn't funny, but still made me laugh. My papa was always the one I could call when I was sick and I wanted matzo ball soup. He was always there for me with it. Even though I gave him a hard time about who the favorite grandchild was, I know he loved us all unconditionally. One thing I'll never forget about Papa was how fast he could fall asleep after a big meal, or his love for painted horses, precious moments, and wooden nickels. Papa, I will miss you so much, and I will keep your love for the Indians, Browns, and Cavs alive, and will always appreciate the love you showed for me. I love you.
Thank you. To those words spoken as a prayer, let us say Amen. All right, since most everybody here is probably taller than me, you'll be able to see the, sure, why not? Neil would appreciate it. This afternoon, we gather to mourn the loss of your dear Neil Gilman, Nehemiah ben Zisov Elea. Nehemiah means God's comfort, and in many ways he would comfort you. He had a good sense of humor, but in other ways he would push your buttons, which he liked to do as well. He did have good people skills, and he learned this from his father, who spent a lot of time at Mount Olive Cemetery. You learn how to comfort people and speak to people when you're speaking about funeral arrangements with people. It's a very important time for people. You learn people skills. He loved his boat. He loved fishing. The family spent lots of time up at Lake Chautauqua for more than 20 years. That was a big part of the family. He liked to play poker. He had a dry sense of humor, and he will be sorely missed by many, many people. As some of the family members sat down yesterday and spoke about Neil, I was reminded of a teaching which correlates to this week's Torah portion. This week we will begin anew the book of Genesis. In 1798, the great Hasidic teacher, Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi, was imprisoned in St. Petersburg, 1798, a long time ago. He was imprisoned for spreading religious faith and thus subversion among the Jewish population. And while he sat in prison awaiting his trial, his warden, who was conscious of being in the presence of a holy man, asked the Rebbe a question which had long been troubling him. He said, we read in the book of Genesis that Adam and Eve sinned, and that they hid themselves among the trees of the Garden of Eden. And God called out, where are you? What I want to know, Rabbi, is if God knows and sees everything, surely God knew where they are. Why does God have to call out, where are you? And the Rebbe replied, the words of the Bible were not meant for their time only, but for all time. And so it is with the question that God asked Adam and Eve. God didn't address that question just to them, but to each and every one of us in each generation. We squander our days and our nights on artificial and temporary objectives. We become consumed with self-preservation and gratification, and we believe that we can hide from the consequences. But always, after we have lost our course, we hear the voice of the Almighty asking, "What have you done with your life? Where are you? I have given you a certain amount of years," God says. How are you using them? And as we take stock of Neil's life and our relationship with him and the relationships we have with others, we ask ourselves the question, how am I doing? How are we doing? Neil was born here in Cleveland, March 21st, 1940. His parents of blessed memory, Saul and Adela. He was the eldest of three: Neil, Sheldon, Shelley, his brother, and Sharon, Shelley's wife, Nancy. The family moved up to Cleveland Heights. Sheldon said, as the eldest child, he was held to very high expectations, maybe even too high, and it was not easy for him. I remember we used to take the bus from 137th Street to the Windermere Station and then up to Green Road for Hebrew school. Neil graduated, and nobody would put their kid on a bus now, right? 2 buses even. Neil graduated from Heights High School and then went to Miami University. He worked in hospital administration and finance, and he's been a longtime member of the Hebrew Benevolent Association, also Deeks Lodge, Knights of Pythias, and the Masons. Neil and Jackie married in 1986 and blended together families, which then became a large family. They shared a life of 31 years, and they were blessed with, and if I make a mistake, just call it out, please. We have children: Brian. Brian is married to Kathy. Mark is married to Tiffany. Scott's wife Julie of blessed memory. Brett of blessed memory, his wife Jennifer. Wendy, her husband Michael. And grandchildren: Stephen, Sean, Samantha, Seth, Sawyer. You think they had a theme there for a letter? It's nice in a family when you can recognize people. And Ryan and Tyler and Peyton, Brandon, Corey, Camden, Bryce, 12 grandchildren. His favorite holiday was Thanksgiving because he liked eating the big turkey leg. He would eat matzah any time of the year and throughout the whole year. Jackie said if we didn't know what to eat, Neil always liked matzah. And matzah ball soup, as we know. He was a well-loved uncle to many. He would pull the chain of relatives unmercifully. I mean, just pull their chain. He loved his grandchildren. And there are so many things about his life that are worth recalling, worth remembering. And so many of them we will remember in our hearts. About 7 months ago, he was diagnosed with cancer of the esophagus, and he'd been receiving treatment. And then Monday evening, he had a heart attack and passed away. It was just very suddenly. It's a big shock. You know, you want a couple months to say goodbye. You don't want too much time to say goodbye because then it's just continued deterioration. But you do want a little bit of time to say goodbye, and so this is a big shock. He breathed his last at home, which is just where he wanted to be. And now there's no pain or deterioration of his body or his mind. There's just rest and wholeness and peace. His soul is returning to God to be with the souls of dear relatives and friends and ancestors of our people. We learn this in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7. The dust returns to the earth as it was. The spirit returns to God who gave it. One day, each of us will go to this time called Olam Haba, the world to come. And your soul will be together with his as well. It's a spiritual existence. It's not a place. This is a place. Olam Haba is an eternal time. The family has allowed us to send along a couple of well-prayed-from prayer books with him in the casket. It's a mitzvah to escort the body of your loved one to his final resting place. Also a mitzvah to bury holy books of our tradition with respect. So we thank the family very much. Your memories are filled to overflowing with thoughts of Neil. And we give thanks to God for this gift of life. 77, with each passing year, it's younger. And 77 is not as old as the family or friends would have hoped, but you would really only want it in health. So we thank God for the gift of this life. And as you think of him, you should go fishing, do some boating, eat a turkey leg, big turkey leg. Take care of one another. And do these things in his loving memory. For only through our deeds can the world be compensated for his loss. And so we say with tears in our eyes words from the first chapter of the book of Job. Adonai Natan, Adonai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mavarach. The Lord hath given, the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru yimru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. May God, who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, cause peace to rain down upon us, upon all Israel, and upon the soul of our dearly departed Neil Gilman. And let us say, Amen. Please rise for the El Maleh Rachamim prayer. Into your care, O God, we entrust the spirit of Neil Gilman. For you keep faith with your children in death as in life. Sustain it so we may meet with serenity the mysteries that lie ahead, knowing that when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you, O God, are with us, a loving friend in whom we put our trust. You are the light of our life, our hope in eternity. El Maleh Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hametzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, Im Kedoshim U'Tohorim, Kezohar Akiyam Asirim, Et Nishmat Nehemia ben Zisko V'Leah, Shahalak L'Olamo, Ba'al HaRachamim, Yastibrehu B'Seitzer Kenafav L'Olamim, Vayitzro B'Tzor HaChaim, Et Nishmato, Adonai hu nachalato, v'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo, v'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, Grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Nehemiah ben Ziskel Velea, our dear Neil Gilman. He has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. Please be seated for one moment. If you are going to Mount Olive with us, then you're going to Mount Olive with us. But if you're not going to Mount Olive with us, and you are just going to Mark and Tiffany's house, we'll be there in about an hour and a half from now. We'll do a minyan tonight at 6 p.m., and we'll say Kaddish for him for the next 4 Friday nights at our synagogue. Temple Israel Ner Tamid, our services are Friday night at 7:30. This afternoon at Hebrew School, kids will say Kaddish for him. Sunday mornings, kids will say Kaddish for him for the next month. It'll be so you probably have the address, but 17336 Long Meadow Trail. 17336 Long Meadow Trail, right? Okay, it's in Chagrin Falls. We'll just put it in the GPS. And then we'll lay his body to rest at Mount Olive. If you wish to make contributions in his loving memory, the American Cancer Society, the American Heart Association, or Temple Emmanuel are the places the family would like you to think of first. Not only, but first among many.